A, Brett Yormark exists, and in expansion, I think that is the key cog that not just keeps the Big 12 alive, but keeps them relevant in comparison to the SEC and the Big 10. The same guy that brought in a BYU, UCF, Cincinnati, and Houston. And no, he didn't. He brought in Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah, which was a huge move for this conference. I think he'll bring in 4 more teams from the ACC. Is that it? Like, is the Big 12 thriving, expanding because of Brett Yormark and his Senor Brett, who's sending teams to Mexico and putting, videos of the championship game in Times Square? The guy's just getting creative here.
Yeah, Brett Yormark, let's just be honest, and I'm pretty sure you've said the same thing before. Brett Yormark is the reason the Big 12 still exists. If the Big 12 just did the thing where they just hired, the athletic director or who, finally was in the business for so long and finally got
Linda Livingstone, Big 12 commissioner.
Exactly. Or they got just the Big 12 wouldn't be alive
Jamie
anymore.
Pollard, Big 12 commissioner. Yeah.
Because they need a businessman, because this is what this conference and what college football is. It's no longer we care about the student athletes and amateurism and put on just no, it's a business. And it's now just fully in our face when Oklahoma and Texas left. It's just this is a business. So yeah, I think expansion is the way for the Big 12 to keep on thriving, way to keep on making sure that you are secure. Because I think if there's a chance to gain or to get an opportunity from chaos or from a bad thing from something else, like what will happen to the ACC, you have to take advantage of it, even though morally, do we want a 20-team Big 12 that isn't necessarily teams directly in the Midwest or in the heart of the country? I don't think we necessarily want that. But if you want to be a business and keep on thriving, Brett Yormark needs to do that.
Agreed. Here's, in my opinion, I think if you are of the mind, you out there, the people that are listening to this, the Big 12 should become an elite basketball conference, bring in Gonzaga and UConn and maybe a Duke. That is what the ACC branded itself as, and they sunk. They died because it doesn't push the needle. Football pushes the needle. Look at a Georgetown, who once upon a time was a basketball powerhouse. They made money with the sport. But the second you become bad at basketball, that goes away. There isn't as much brand power with that sport, and you don't get the money you do in football. So Yormark isn't trying to make the Big 12 a basketball-only powerhouse because it doesn't bring in the same amount of revenue. You don't get the college football playoff revenue that we're all chasing after. Instead, what he's doing is going to Mexico. He's doing the New York stuff. He's doing the BAPE thing or having Nelly do the halftime show. Is that enough? Is the Mexico stuff enough to make this conference relevant?
No, it's not.
Okay.
And we've talked about this before, but the Big 12 just needs to win. Big 12 needs to win football games. The Big 12 needs to go to the playoff and not get blown out by Georgia in a national title game. And I'm not saying TCU did this terrible thing. They still made a national championship game. But the issue is if we can never take these teams seriously and they can be competitive to the point where you're not turning the game off after the first half. The Big 12 needs teams that compete to that level. But also we talk about Mexico and the news that they're going to delay Mexico another year. I feel like Brett Yormark is that person who gets a job and is just so ambitious. You and I have been there. We've gotten jobs and we come in and we're I want to do this, this, and this. And everyone's really excited. Wow, man, we got this person who's so ambitious, who wants to do all these things. And then you realize as you're doing the job, it's this is not really high on my pecking order. And also everybody around me doesn't seem that motivated about it anymore as they were when I first got the job. And also I don't even really care about it. I just said it because I just really wanted to impress some people. And it's just a headache for everybody. I feel that's what this Mexico situation is. Good for Brett Yormark, good to do these things and get people excited and talking about the Big 12 and owning the media and having people talk about you the way they never talked about you before. But now it's all right, we got to come back to earth. This thing doesn't really matter that much going to Mexico. Does it really bring up the value of the Big 12? Or do we believe that people in Mexico are now going to follow Utah, are now going to follow Cincinnati football? Probably not. So I understand them delaying it. I wouldn't be shocked if they just cancel the whole thing because it's I don't think anybody would be bothered if they took that away. I just think Brett Yormark is very ambitious, but I think now he's realizing I should probably taper it back a little bit.
In the world of, hey, Brett, we could spend some time trying to get Virginia Tech to come play in our fun little conference. And Brett goes, no, Mexico City's on the phone. We got to get down there for some basketball. All right. I want BYU baseball in Mexico City stat. I don't think that's what's happening at the Big 12 headquarters in Frisco. I just, it's fun. The fluffy stuff is fun. The Babe stuff is fun. Nelly is fun. Having Shaq Diesel or whatever he wants to be called, to do the Big 12 tournaments, like, oh, it's great. But today, it didn't matter for anything. It didn't do anything for you. It just became fun, entertaining, but it doesn't equate to dollars from the TV companies, and that's what you want. Robbie, I think the Big 12 stays alive. I made the case on yesterday's show that the Big 12 does. I think they're in a good spot. And I feel like you're in a good spot. You look really good. You sound really good. I'm glad that you're here today. Where can folks who also liked you find your stuff?
You can follow me at Twitter at the Triano Kid. You can follow my YouTube, subscribe. Hi, I'm Robbie. I just put out a video on Caleb Williams because I live in Chicago and I work for the #1 rated Chicago radio station in the city. And all we do is talk about Caleb Williams. And I think he kind of gets a bad rep. So I talk about him there. And yeah, just like the Big 12, you and I, we're going to stay alive. We're just going to keep on thriving and keep on doing our things and making promises that we may not keep, but we're going to keep on trying.
Also, hi, I'm Robbie on YouTube. Just hi, I'm Robbie. You could do it right now. You just boop, boop, boop. And you go there and it's like, oh my gosh, this channel's awesome. I'm on there at some point in somewhere.
Thank you.
That's Robbie Triano. This has been, and it always will be, Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.